Yeah, it was only a matter of time. It was. Yeah, this was destined to happen. Like, I understand Fight for 15 movement, $20 an hour, $50 an hour. When that happened, obviously you're gonna start raising the prices on things. But the problem is you're a fast food restaurant, and because you're a fast food restaurant, you're supposed to be kind of cheap and affordable to the overwhelming masses, not a family of three or spending $30 at a fast food restaurant. I can literally go anywhere else that's going to have much higher quality food, less filler, for probably the same price or cheaper. Let's just be honest here. McDonald's, you're not a fine dining establishment. You're not that. That is not you. Right? So I expected this. And many other restaurants are going to start kind of suffering through this. The fast food prices have gotten entirely too expensive. You're competing with actual restaurants now. Less people are going to be going to you. But, listen, Red Lobster is also suffering through the same thing right now currently. So I expect other restaurants to most likely suffer through the same thing. Right? The prices need to go down, or everyone in America needs to get paid more immediately, roughly 3 times whatever they were getting paid before. But either way, name of the video is Why Fast Food Has Gotten So Expensive. Just a suggestion via Patreon. Let's check it out.
Big and tasty. For just $1, you did your thing, dog.
Remember the dollar menu?
I do.
Well, you may be hard-pressed to find any fast food item that actually costs $1 anymore.
$17 for 3 Filet-O-Fishes at McDonald's? Are you kidding me?
I don't have the money to buy fast food anymore.
Would you just miss the days when fast food was actually cheap?
When looking at fast food menus nationally, here are the average prices for fries from McDonald's,
Okay.
a Happy Meal,
Right.
and a burger combo from Burger King. But I hate even more than that.
$8.74.
Here are the prices at fast food locations by the NBC offices in Midtown Manhattan.
$12.
Broadly speaking, sales are performing much stronger than foot traffic, and that's due in part to higher prices.
The Consumer Price Index measures inflation, or the average increase in prices over time.
Right.
Fast food falls into the limited service meals category. Think anything that's typically ordered at a counter and taken to go. From 2019 to 2023, prices in this category are up nearly 28%. That's more than full-service meals. Think sit-down restaurants with servers, which increased nearly 24%. And it's also more than overall inflation, which increased 19%. So why are fast food prices so high, and where will they go from here?
All right, so we can basically forecast how this is going to go. If this is the information they're using, then it's going to be almost purely based off of rising, let's say, rent also, right? That's the thing. Then also the rising employee payments. These two things are going to basically be indicative of why the CPI specifically may have gone up on fast food.
Can I please get a Titan turkey? Can I get a foot long?
For the $5 footlongs?
Yeah, just that. Between 2022 and 2023, the cost of food, beverage, and packaging rose around 11% for both McDonald's and Chipotle. Okay. Still, as of late, labor is the main culprit.
Food is about 1/3 of the cost of a menu item. So even as those costs moderate, in many cases, and particularly given the laws that we're seeing in California and some of the other, minimum wage laws and just increases that are happening, is that wage pressure remains elevated.
The fast food labor market became increasingly competitive for employers during the pandemic as companies struggled to fill their restaurants. In 2022, the number of employees in the limited service restaurant category were still below 2019 levels. During that same time, the number of limited service establishments grew by over 4%.
As things normalized after COVID, you still see a higher amount of job openings and less people coming in to fill those jobs.
Compared to 2019, the percentage of sales that goes towards paying for labor has grown for many limited service restaurants like Wendy's and Shake Shack, where it has actually decreased for restaurants like the Cheesecake Factory and Darden Restaurants, which owns chains like Olive Garden, Longhorn Steakhouse, and the Capitol Grill.
In order to maintain the same service levels and expand their operating hours to accommodate the consumers' late night snack demands and demands for earlier breakfast, fast food restaurants need to hire more labor across the day part And so as they're competing with other potential employers, they need to make the job more enticing. And the easiest way to do that is by raising the wage rate.
And companies are passing these costs on to the customer, especially as states like California have raised the minimum wage for workers.
And obviously, despite this huge wage inflation, there's a lot of other factors at play. I think when you look at inflation within limited service, first of all, you're starting with a lower check average. And so any increase of $1 or $2 that an operator passes on just by definition has a higher percentage increase on it.
From December 2023 to February 2024, the national average for a quick service restaurant check was about $18, which is 4.5% more than the same time period last year. That's a higher percentage increase than both casual and fine dining. And full-service restaurants are capitalizing on the decreasing price gap.
How is this Chili's 3 for me only $10.99 when fast food is so expensive?
It could be because we don't have to pay for any mascots.
Please! I was born for this!
It has created a shift.
I mean, listen, that's valid, but here's the thing. Yeah, it can be slightly cheaper, right? You get to sit down, eat, experience, but you also get the ridiculous tip culture that exists in America, right? So you'll literally be spending the same amount of money. Do not fall for this trick, okay? Not really. I'm sitting here thinking about it because we're not tipping McDonald's employees. We're tipping those guys.
In fast food consumer behavior.
Perhaps before they were going there 10 times, but now they're still only spending $100 and maybe they're going there 8 times or 7 times, right? And so you start to see this traffic fall off because they're still spending essentially the same amount, but they're now going less frequently.
Although prices for fast food have soared, sales have remained strong. McDonald's, Wendy's, and Yum Brands, which owns KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell, have all seen revenue surge past pre-pandemic levels.
A lot of the sales are still going up, and a lot of that's driven by price as opposed to frequency or visits.
A lot of investors are now focused on who is best positioned to drive growth based on volume, because you can obviously only push your price higher for so long.
And that for so long may have arrived. McDonald's missed earnings estimates in the first quarter of 2024, and an Evercore analyst called it one of the most sobering quarters for the fast food giant. Others like KFC and Pizza Hut are experiencing the same consumer pullback.
We must be laser focused on affordability, which means good entry-level price points available every day. In the markets where we're doing this well, the business is outperforming. In some markets, however, it's clear we still have opportunities to strengthen our proposition.
100K plus income household are really powering through and still spending at kind of normalized levels. Where we see a lot of the constraint or perhaps
lower
behavioral
income
changes is the 50K and below consumer.
Yeah.
And so your lower end consumer who just doesn't have enough spending power to
you're asking too much.
Keep doing.
And again, if you do have, if you're making more than 50 to 100 or even over 100 to 200, your options are absolutely gigantic, right? You can go anywhere, but yet for some reason people are still choosing to go to these locations. I find it odd. But
everything that they were doing when the economy had a lot of additional COVID stimulus available.
Remember the $5 footlong at Subway?
Yeah, I do.
That's a thing of the past. This turkey sub cost me over $11. The bad news about inflation is prices aren't going to go down. The good news is the increases are slowing.
Prices in general across the economy very rarely ever come down once they've been reset higher. One of the reasons for that is wages, once they're reset higher, very rarely get pushed back down and reset lower.
To combat the decrease in value offered by fast food, chains are relying on apps and loyalty programs. In its 2023 fourth quarter earnings call, Wendy's says that it plans to invest approximately $15 million, primarily in 2024, to further enhance its mobile app experience. McDonald's announced its goal to expand its loyalty program from 150 million to 250 million 90-day active users by 2027.
They haven't been able to do before is have targeted advertisements that go directly to consumers based on their consumption preferences. And the companies will be able to see almost in real time the return on investment of those advertisements and those promotions that they push to the consumer, because they can tell, I pushed them the promotion on Tuesday and they made a purchase on Wednesday or on Thursday.
The value offered by fast food is something that customers will continue to evaluate each time they make a purchase, and it may ultimately determine how the industry reacts going forward.
Restaurants still take dollars to the bank, not consumer visits, and as long as they're able to continue to drive
still
growth
making that
from
money.
a value or from a dollar perspective, I think that's still good news for the industry.
Guys, I'm just not hopeful, okay? I mean, they're right, obviously. Once prices hit a certain point, do they ever come back down? Not really. Why would they? Because you're still going to go out and buy it. And that's just the reality. Are they losing money, the fact that they're raising the prices like this? No. In fact, they're still kind of going up. And a lot of that has to do with what we are comfortable with spending and how and what we're spending on. I'm not going to say that it's the smartest thing in the world if you realize that things are getting more expensive, that you continue to pay for these things. For example, Jerome Powell, what he's basically, he's the guy that basically handles the interest rates in the United States of America. Right? He has no interest in lowering the interest rates, meaning he has no real interest in having more people purchase the 10-year Treasury bonds. Basically, what he's saying when he says that here. Why? Americans aren't suffering. We're not struggling. Inflation isn't affecting us. If it was affecting us, then we wouldn't be buying as much as we're buying. Right? The credit card interest rates for some people are up to 30%, up 27% or so. Right? Oh no, it's completely fine because they're still charging things. What he doesn't understand for some reason, or what he can't actually correlate, is people for the most part are doom spending. They don't see any hope any longer. And that lack of hope is making them overspend and be absolutely wasteful on every single thing. Remember that house that you were saving for at one time? Then you realize that house prices have absolutely shot up to the point where they're not affordable at all, right? Where 20% of a house nowadays is about $100 and something thousand for the median priced home, right? Who has $120,000 sitting in the bank? Right? The average person looking to purchase a house at the age of 35 to 40 does not have that money. The overwhelming average person. So they're going to be looking at renting for the rest of their life and never actually building an asset. And this is what, for some reason, Jerome Powell doesn't grasp. Right? There absolutely needs to be a way for people to still be comfortable, but also at the same time stop or slow spending, specifically on things that you realize that are completely overpriced. Like once you can get that, right, I think Jerome Powell will probably be like, okay, it's time, right? But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.